If I reminded you that you are perfect, would you argue me down or step into your perfection? Welcome to Perfect Mode, where there are no excuses, no expectations, and we explore the world without limitations. I'm JClay, rapper, the spiritual teacher, with my co-host Troy Washington, your friendly neighborhood realtor. Let's be real, so let's be perfect. Everything, anything, many things, plenty things, perfect. Everything, anything, many things, plenty things, perfect mode. Everything, anything, many things, plenty things, perfect mode. Everything, anything, many things, plenty things, perfect mode. Perfect mode, perfect mode, perfect mode, perfect mode, perfect mode, perfect mode, perfect mode. Everything, anything, many things, plenty things, perfect mode, perfect mode. Everything, anything, many things, plenty things, perfect mode.
Perfect.
Yeah. Happy Sunday.
Yeah.
Happy Sunday. Another beautiful Sunday. As you can see, Troy is out of there. Oh, just for the day. We got special guest host Loretta Sharing Group, who is joining us on this beautiful Sunday to just share the perfectness, the perfection of it all, and get into that positive self-talk. Happy Sunday, Loretta.
Happy Sunday. Happy to be here. Hello, everyone. Ready to do this. Let's talk about this maintaining positive self-talk.
Yeah. Quick shout out to our Patreons. Click the link in the description, support the show, all of this. And Loretta, so let's start off with you.
Okay.
What does maintaining positive self-talk to you? Like when you heard this topic, when you came across it, what went through your mind?
So many things went through my mind with this topic, maintaining positive self-talk. First of all, my first initial thought was, oh, that sounds like self-help stuff, like self-help, airy fairy kind of stuff. But maintaining positive self-talk is critical, y'all, to how we create and manifest. It really is significant. It's beyond just the sayings of pay attention to the thoughts in your head. Pay attention to the thoughts in your head. So I just thought, man, self-talk is how we create our experience.
Yeah.
So it's huge. It's huge. What about you?
Yeah, like self-talk. I gotta bring up my favorite phrase on earth ever. Watch your thoughts, for they become your words. Watch your words, for they become your actions. Actions become habits. Habits become character. Character become destiny. And that positive self-talk, that self-talk period is the key part in that, because your self-talk is basically your thoughts to yourself, or the words you may speak to yourself or say to yourself when no one else is listening, when no one else is around, or even in conversation. Like right now, I'm having a conversation with you, but I could be having a dialogue with myself at the same time. And it's important to know and recognize what that dialogue is, and if it serves you or if it doesn't.
Yes. What you said. A lot of times, so when you talked about if it serves you or if it doesn't, one of the main indicators of recognizing if a thought serves you is your feelings. You know, if you feel like, if you have a thought and all of a sudden your vibration has dipped, like it's like, wait a minute, why am I all of a sudden stressed out or angry? What did I just think? And now I feel this sadness or frustration or anger. And you and I may differ a little bit on this, Jay, where you say don't run after the thought. But what has worked for me is, what did I think? Unpacking what I think and clearing those belief systems, because our thoughts actually prop up from our belief system, right? So if we believe that we are bad, or if we believe that we are small, then those thoughts will prop out of that belief system. But if we believe that we are as God created us, if we believe that we are God or fractals of God, then we have thoughts that prop up out of that belief system. So, yeah, it's how you feel. That's one indicator. That's one indicator of if a thought does not serve you. What about
So the
you?
good thing though, like what you said, the reason I say don't chase your thoughts is because a lot of people can't look at it objectively. And it sounds
Mhm.
like you are because you're getting to the root of the belief. But
Yeah.
I still stand by it if you're someone who's tied to the thought. Like if
Yeah.
you believe the thought is so true that
Yeah.
you can't get outside of it to even look at to determine
Yeah.
its realness or not,
Yeah. Okay.
um, it can be a tough thing. It can be a hindrance to you, and it can bring you further into that state. And it could lead you to really believe that thought even longer,
Mm.
and hold on, like reaffirm it in a sense.
That is so true. And you're so right. That's why we talk about don't follow those thoughts
Yeah.
that does not serve you. I often use the analogy, Jay, because this is huge for me. I mean, about my experience, how thoughts were a huge part of my awakening journey, what was going on in between these ears. And so I often use the analogy, if you are driving a vehicle, right? And you have someone on the side of you that's in the passenger side, and they're like, why are we going here? You got work to do.
Yeah.
You should be at home responding to emails. Why are we going here? And you have a passenger behind you that's saying, the last time we went to this place, we got into a car accident, or you didn't know how to get there. That's that doubting voice. But we are in the driver's seat. We're driving that boat, so we can follow those thoughts. We can follow what those passengers say, or we can challenge them and say, nope, it's today is a new day. I know what happened last time, but we're doing it fresh today. So yeah, you're right. Following those thoughts, whether or not to do that is critical.
Yeah. And shout out to Betty. Greetings from Brooklyn, Loretta sharing group. Yes.
Very
And
high.
so something similar to self-talk that I've been exploring just in my own mind this week in
Mhm.
particular is the question of why. And I'll get to why that's significant. Okay. Because usually if something happens to someone painful, something that they don't want, their first instinct is to find out why it happened. Why did this happen? Like,
Mhm.
this happened because of this, because of that. And what we don't realize is the because, if you break it down, is because. Like, we are being
Mhm.
the cause, we are embodying the cause. So whatever we set as that cause will be. And
Mhm.
so, like, I like to tell people, don't look for a cause. Just
Yeah.
it is what it is. Everything is cause and effect. So without the cause, the effect can't be there.
Yeah.
And so that got me thinking, because why and because go hand in hand. Is
Mhm.
the question why needed? Because if you think about it, like but this, okay, in the terms of self-talk, by asking why, you're giving up being the cause. You're
Mm.
saying,
Mm.
I'm giving up my power to something outside of myself to dictate what this means, instead of me just saying, oh, this happened for good measure. Oh, this happened for my highest good. This happened for
Yeah.
that. I want to know your thoughts on that in terms of
I love that. I love that. I love that. I've heard you say that before. Be the cause. I love that because we are the cause, right? So no, I love that. It made me think of something that recently has happened, y'all. This past week. So I'm making dinner for the kids. Already tired. And there was an ingredient. I was making mashed potatoes, and there was an ingredient that I didn't have, which that I was for. I'm like, oh, because I hate having to go to the grocery store. So anyway, I had potatoes on the eye boiling. And so I told the kids, watch these potatoes. I'm just going to run real quick, get this, come back. Got back, the pot had done caught on fire, dealing with two teenagers. They ain't even so I could smell it before I even got there. And the potatoes were ruined. And at first it was just like, oh, you know what I'm saying? But then I thought, it was like, you know what, those potatoes kind of smelled a little bit funny. Like I was already side eyeing the potatoes, even though they were organic. And so I told the kids, first of all, I apologized to them for being frustrated because I was like, but then I told them, I said, you know what? I choose to believe that that happened because those potatoes weren't right.
Yeah.
Because I believe that everything that happens for a reason. And there was a few other potatoes that I had not cut, and I was like, smell these. And then my daughter was like, it smelled kind of sweet a little bit, just weird.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I choose to believe that that's why that happened. There is no loss. So when you talk about that, uh, I recognize that I was a part of that experience because I was already kind of looking at the potatoes funny.
Yeah.
So I created that experience. And so yeah, choosing to believe, and that goes to anything. Like you go to the store and the person is rude or whatever. It's like I choose to believe that she was just in need of love in that moment. You know, being able to decide what we wish to believe in any moment. And instead of saying why or why me, just being a creator and a manifester of that moment.
Yeah. And I love that too, just because you can be like it. This is a world of beliefs. Like we see through our eyes of belief. And what we associate
Yeah.
with kids a lot is make believe, but we get to play make believe at every moment, but we don't want to. We want to give it up. We want to give it up to Google. What does Google say about this? What does somebody else to say? They say that this is
Yeah.
always like this.
Yeah.
I've had a conversation recently with someone that in my mind, I was trying to give them every opportunity to have that positive self-talk.
Mm.
They just wouldn't take it. They was like, nah, it's still gonna be bad because I had this before. It's like, well,
Yeah.
maybe this time it may be different. You know, it is you'll be in good spirits. It's worked out for a reason. Nah, I already know I'm gonna be hurt and all of this. And no matter what I tried, he tore it down. So I stopped trying because again, I don't want him to reaffirm that in himself. Like if I had not brought
Mhm.
that up, maybe he wouldn't have started reaffirming going down that line. So it's important to notice that on both sides too, like giving and receiving. Are you fostering a place that allows others to maintain that negative self-talk
Mm.
around you?
Mm. Mm. Yeah. I mean, I often um think of that when somebody is resistant, right, to whatever you're saying. I do think that's critical, Jay, bagging off and allowing them to be in the space that they're in, especially if they don't respond to the suggestions. Because you're right, they could just dig their heels in the sand in that resistance and make it stronger than ever before.
Yeah. So again, like that's why I say even in the realm of it, we shouldn't argue. I mean, I argue
Yeah,
sometimes because it is
yeah,
fun, but we shouldn't argue because we allow people to affirm something
yeah.
stronger in themselves that they might not like. And
Mm.
I want to read real quick what Betty has said. Every time I miss the train, I always choose to believe that my energy and presence was needed on the train platform a little longer. And
I
yeah,
love that, Betty. I love that. I
so
love that. Yeah.
so question to you, how did you did you have a process of getting inside your head to monitor your self-talk? Are you still in the process of doing it? Or is it, you know what I mean? Like,
It's as we know, monitoring self-talk is a constant thing. You know what's critical, Jay? This is what's critical is presence. How many times do we marinate on our thoughts and have these thoughts and are deep in thought? and not even recognizing that we're thinking these things. So the key, I always say, is presence,
Yeah.
being the observer of the thoughts, not judging them, but recognizing, like stepping back a little bit and recognizing, oh, I mean, I've been marinating on this for the past 10, 15 minutes, and it is not good, uh, shifting from being so invested in this illusion to being the observer. I think if we are able to do that, we can then not be emotionally impacted to whatever we're thinking, and then actually challenge. I always tell my daughter, challenge your thoughts. I always tell her how my ego has said things, and I'm like, you've lost credibility. You've lost credibility. Be quiet, sit down. Challenge your thoughts.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, no, I think presence is huge with that.
Yeah. And shout out to Andona. She said, present moment awareness is essential.
Shout out, Andona. Absolutely. That's it right there.
Right. So let's speak about presence real quick. So about presence, because you mentioned about like getting caught in that rabbit hole, going down a thought for 15 minutes, like you fully vested, you probably see things, you know what you would do in this situation. I wish somebody would do this because I'm going to do this. Like, would presence be changing the thought of that, or just coming out of the thought altogether and realizing, oh, I'm not even in this moment. Let me get back to this real moment.
I think presence starts with recognizing the thought. See, a lot of us, right? A lot of people, like I know with me, I used to believe that I was my thoughts. And I believed that if you think a thing, it was true. I never challenged my thoughts. And so I think the beginning of presence, because of course there's layers to this thing. The beginning of presence is recognizing the thought and not just following it and believing it and acting on it. Recognizing, okay. And then when you recognize it, assess, does this serve? Is this higher, lower? Does this serve me? Do I get feedback? Another thing, another layer is that internal guidance. We're constantly given feedback from what we think, constantly. And we assess it the wrong way if we're not taught on this. And real briefly, if we think, and I've used this example before, if we think a thought that I used to think, I am alone. I am alone. I'm just by myself. And then you have a bad feeling after that thought. We think that we feel bad because the thought is true. But actually, our internal guidance is telling us, no, 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 my love, you are on the wrong track. You are thinking in error. You are not alone. You are not alone. You have many beings around you who love you. And so just reassessing the feedback that we get from our thoughts. We've been understanding them wrong. If you have a bad feeling, your thought was in error. If you have a bad feeling, your thought was in error.
I love that. And I want
Yeah.
to touch back to something you said about you used to think that you were your thoughts. I did too. A lot of people do. A lot of people still do. And the interesting thing about that is, once we have to let go of that belief,
Yeah.
because when someone comes to us with an alternative thought, we sometimes want to battle them or fight them. And the only reason is because we think that they're destroying our world. Because if the
Mhm.
thought that they presented to us is true, this means everything that we built our life on is not. Where does that leave us?
Mm. Wow.
Right. And it goes so deep that we think our world is destroyed. We think it's the worst thing ever, when in reality it's not. But it's hard to see that when you've
Yes.
built this monument to your beliefs in such a way that everything is ingratiated with it.
Yes.
So it's very interesting. And Betty said, "Ooh, love this about the loneliness example. Amazing redirect." Yeah.
Thank you, Betty. Oh, I love what you said. I'm gonna take it a step further in recognizing that which we are, right? Because we have, many of us believe that we're our thoughts. And so I often say we are the consciousness that enables a thought to even exist. And I had to tell myself that many times when I was trying to get up out of the dirt and the grime and of ego, right? Uh, I am the consciousness that allows a thing called a thought to exist. We think our thoughts are so powerful, and they are energies. They are powerful energies, but we are more expansive than a thought. We don't have to just follow what the thought is. We can challenge and redirect and understand that if it were not for my consciousness, there wouldn't be a thing called a thought. Tapping back into the vastness of that which we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I've been trying two things when it comes to these thoughts we don't want to think. So one is trying to, it's trying to correct it or try to switch what
Mhm.
you want. But then, but you also want to go deeper into why do I believe this? But I found that in certain moments, it's easier to just let the thought go. Like, because
Mm,
you might be in the heart of something that you want to
yeah,
do, and you get this conflicting thought
yeah,
that's like, you can't do this. This is not right or something, but in your soul it's right for you to do. So the easy thing to do, like you could try to fight the thought and try to change it and reverse it and make it be the opposite. But I
yes,
found just completely letting it go, like thinking another thought or thinking no thoughts, it instantly changes your mood. It's so easy to
yeah,
navigate.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's so true. And you just gave me chills. You just gave me chills when you said that. So okay, y'all, I'm about to get personal. So lately on my YouTube channel, I have been practicing talking to the camera. And what I have observed, y'all, uh, instead of having a guest, it's very easy when I have a guest on and in the ear on, and I kind of, engage with them. But when I go on and I talk directly to the camera, it is the toughest thing, y'all. And so one of the layers of resistance that I have is that thought. It's the ego thought. Like, don't nobody want to hear this. Everybody know this. They don't nobody don't nobody want to hear this, or you getting too personal. I mean, I just get these thoughts, and so I like you, I have to just get to a point where it's like, you know what, let me just do it. Let me just do it. And just, I'm not even trying to unpack where that came from or whatever. Just releasing and letting that go and doing it anyway. And every time that I've done it, I've been so very pleased. But that's something that I recognize, y'all. That's just like, oh my gosh, it's just like fighting through these. But I do think that the more I do it, the easier it gets.
Yeah. And no,
Yeah.
it's true. Like sometimes just acting is the best thing. So this is the thing about thoughts, right? We give them way more power than they are worth. Like
Yeah.
they really have no power. Their power is to make us believe in them. So if
Yeah.
they can make us believe in it, then again, we're empowering them, not the other
Yes.
way around.
Yeah.
And so if we can remember that thoughts really have no power, like it's really no point in thinking. And I know how that
Yeah.
sounds. Like, what do you mean there's no point in thinking? It's
Yeah.
really no point in thinking.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
when you can get to that space where you're tapped into your higher self, you're tapped into the love of the situation. Like that's all you need. Everything you need is right there in front of you. And yeah, it like thoughts aren't that worth it in a sense, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And let me read what Andona said real quick.
Okay.
Honoring the fact that there is no right or wrong, just allow the thought to be what it is as it is. Simply recognize it, get present, and respond from the higher perspective you are able to hold in that moment. Ego always wants to just and assess, but the heart knows there's always an opportunity to respond from the highest vibration of love. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And it is about the heart. It's about the heart. Yeah. That's the mind to follow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's,
this brings up a question. I kind of went on this thread before, but I didn't follow it through. Like, in the same way we think with our mind, we can feel with our heart. But like, what does that look like? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I live in that space.
okay.
I live in the feeling center. I do. I live in that space. And sometimes it's challenging, but it is the heart. It is like what Andona said, love, the love consciousness. It will guide you in the right direction.
Yeah.
Um and I even think about when we get feedback from our guides, that feedback will feel good, right? If it doesn't feel good, it is not from spirit. It's from ego. And that this is huge for me because I stay in my head, y'all. So this is right here is a huge thing that I pay attention to a lot. What about you, Jay? What does that mean? The mind of the heart. What does that mean for you?
Right. And that's something that I'm trying to explore. So like, so for instance, I'm the power of my thoughts are losing power in a sense. Like, it's like, and now I can think any thought I want. Like, somebody may say something, and if it doesn't resonate with me, disregard it. But it works both ways. Even if it's something like positive about me or something, it's almost like I could accept it or not. But I'm trying to explore what it means to really be in that heart center, to instead
Yeah.
of thinking thoughts, to feel. But it's not feelings. Like love is deeper than a feeling. So I don't want to put it in the same category, but it is different. It's like, okay, how can I see this through the eyes of love, in a sense. That's cool. But it's just something to think about, not even think about it. That's the trick. And I don't even know how to answer that, which is what I'm happy to explore, to hopefully have an answer at a better time, if that makes sense.
I think love expresses itself in so many different ways. It can be a feeling. For me, like, it's even like meditation. It's like, this feels so good. Like I could stay here all day long,
Yeah.
right? But love is action as well. Love is a powerful force. We are love. We were created by love. So I feel like there's so many layers of love, right?
Yeah.
To be expressed. But that is something to continue to unpack and experience.
So it sounds like then with self-talk, if we could even invite love into that self-talk, love into those thoughts, it changes everything. Like, is this a loving thought? We could ask ourselves that.
Mm,
If it
mm,
is a loving thought, keep thinking it. If it's not, it may be time to let it go. But also, we could look into the why it's not a loving thought. But again, asking that why is that trick. Do you want to give up that power of asking why? But I guess you're asking yourself, so you're answering it yourself. So that
yeah.
could make the difference.
Yeah, sometimes asking the why can be empowering. It's the intention.
Yeah.
So, like with the potatoes, at first I was like, why did this happen? I'm already tired. I done cut these potatoes.
I asked y'all for one thing now.
Right, exactly. But then it was like, why? Like, why did this happen? Well,
Yeah.
you didn't have confidence in them potatoes. So I do think it can be an empowering thing too, like to unpack it within yourself. Why did I manifest this? Was this just an outward expression of what I was already feeling? Because we are that powerful. We are that powerful, y'all. We really are.
You touched on something. You
Yeah.
said you didn't have confidence in those potatoes. And a lot of times you hear people say it all the time. I knew it. I knew that was going to happen. So they didn't have confidence in whatever was supposed to happen. They had confidence in what they believed that they knew.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times when things go wrong, it's because we simply had confidence in the other way and
Yeah.
not that, which is a why in itself. Which is like why. So it's almost like whatever you do, the most important thing first is to get in alignment with it, and having confidence that it actually is, before moving forward.
I love that. I love that. Being in the alignment of it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And every action that is done in fear, right? The result will be in that like vibration.
Yeah.
So you're right. Absolutely. I love that. I
Yeah.
love that.
And to switch gears a little, because I know we're talking about the self-talk of it all, as in terms of what we let in. I mean, in terms of what we give to ourselves, but it's a lot of times what we allow around us, like the music
Mm,
we listen to, the
mm,
television shows we watch, the people that are around us who we give credibility to their thoughts without even questioning them ourselves.
mm,
How important to you is the environment and the collective thoughts and the thoughts you have access to, and even
mm,
that you let your kids have access to?
I love that. I'm sorry, I have to. I'm from the South, y'all. I gotta put some voice to it. That's no, I love that. It's critical. It's critical. We talk a lot about conditioning, right? And you actually have a quote on your website, Jay, about what we consume, right? And that's not just food
Yeah.
and drink. What we consume, social media, what we read, what we believe, what we expose ourselves to. And I read something in conversations with God that I've never forgotten. And this is Neil Donald Walsh. Y'all, Conversations with God is a powerful trilogy. It's 3 different books. Yeah, you have it, Jane. Um, so God was talking to Neil, and he was saying, whatever the higher thought is. So he was saying most people follow the collective. They follow the thought forms and thought, speech, and actions of the collective. Other people are more likely to go their own direction, whatever the collective is thinking. He said, always go with the higher thought, right? If the collective belief system of the collective is higher than yours, then you go with that. But a lot of times, our belief systems are higher than that of the collective. And then you go with that. Don't always follow. Be selective about what you consume. I was at the park yesterday walking, and my neighbor joined me. She was like, "You want to walk together?" And I'm like, "Okay," uh, so we walked together, and she wanted to go into politics, into the Trump thing, and she asked me, I don't know if I said, you know what, the vibration is just not, it's just not high enough. Like, why ruin our time with the trees? Let's go and touch this tree. And she was like, you know what, you're right. So it's like right now the collective is consumed about division and polarity. But it's like, you know what, let's go with the higher. Let's not contaminate the present moment with the things that just honestly don't matter.
Yeah.
Let's stay right here. And so no, I love that. It's critical to just not be followers, y'all. Yeah.
I love that, because you showed her another way, which she probably didn't think was possible. Like,
Yeah.
often when you get to people and you get to standstills in conversations, you look for something that you believe that they can identify with too.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
she figured, oh, let's talk politics. But you doing that, like, it set her on a new path where she's like, yeah, I don't have to talk about it. Why would I? I'm happy right now.
Right.
Why would I let that go?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why would we ruin this time? And I start touching trees. Like, come on, let's touch some trees. I don't feel nothing right now, but one day I will. I'm joking. I'm joking.
Yeah, and it's true. Like it is a positive, high vibration to nature,
Yeah.
and even with like when you're a kid and you used to play outside, you weren't trying to have deep conversations like that. Like it's
Yeah.
just like, no, let's play.
Yes.
Forget all
Right.
that. That's what grown-ups do. That's what boring grown-ups do. They talk.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. Play was so critical.
yeah,
That's all we cared about
yeah,
was playtime. You're right. We didn't sit down and unpack stuff and with what the grown-ups doing. Like, yeah, you right.
yeah,
Returning to that childlike space.
yeah.
Yeah.
So check this out. This is kind of random, but it was random when it happened. So before this, when I was in the shower, the song popped in my head. They smile in your face all the time. They want to take your place. The Backstabbers.
Never.
So when I heard that, I was like, that's interesting because it depends on how you look at it, right? Like if you're looking with love, if somebody smiles in your face and they want to take your place, I was just thinking about that. Like, I feel like I'm in a good place to be. Like, if others want to come in this space of how I experience, I really think the world would be a better place. But someone who's not looking at that with love, they think that they're taking something away from them, that there's some kind of backstabber and it's negative. And I say that to say that since that's in song form, a lot of people probably took that as gospel in a sense. Like, yeah, that's true. They want to, you can't trust them. They just trying to be me. They just trying to be where I'm at. They copying off of me. But in reality, it's like they are a student of you. You know what I mean? And they like they like how you live your life, and they want to kind of mimic it in a way just to have that positivity, but we don't always see it like that. And so it's just an interesting dynamic that it came from that random song that popped in my head.
That is interesting. It reminds me, Jay, I don't know if it's in one of your songs, but you've talked about why would I see others as lower than me? Because it's a lonely place, right?
Yeah.
You think you're the only one, that's arrived, and so they're lower than you. And you made the point, basically seeing God in everybody. There's value in everyone, right? And you have that camaraderie. There's resonance. So yeah, it is a different way to look at that. I remember that song.
Yeah. Because everybody always says it's lonely at the top. Then why are you going to the top? Why not go someplace where everybody can go and have fun and be on equal positions and stuff? And because really, I mean, in reality, we are on equal footing because we get to choose our thoughts, which form our destiny. But we don't always see it like that. And so why not get to a place where everyone knows their power? And so no matter what you choose, it's no harm, no foul. It's like, oh, that's what you want to experience. It's cool. It's fine by me.
Yes, I love that. I love that. Yeah. So how do you continue to maintain positive self-talk in the face of challenge, Jay? How do you still do that and keep that focus?
So luckily, shout out to Betty. I was talking to Betty earlier today, and I realized something that I do that I've done since I was little, and I'm grateful for it. Like if I get in a situation that's too not busy, but like too many things out of the ordinary, that could make you nervous. Like I used to think it was nervousness or something that is like, all right, something is about to go down. This is bad. This is bad. That was my thinking back then. I would take a step back where it's like I can just see everything and I observe everything. And then like people have even reacted to me in that state, like, why are you so comfortable doing this? Like during this state, like, why are you so calm? But it's only because I had to be, or else panic would set in. Absolutely. And so you spoke on it earlier on the show, observe, like if you can take that step back, you'll be able to see what's happening or even what you're doing or what you're bringing to the situation so that you can dilute it or get to a place where you know exactly what your part in it is. So I would say the same question to you. Like, what do you do to maintain?
Oh man, that was beautiful. I think observing, like you said, observing my thoughts and then choosing, observing my thoughts and choosing what I'm choose to believe.
Yeah.
This is what I choose to believe. Um, and I have this thing, this quote that healing begins with the belief that we are God. If everyone were convinced that they were not just believe that they knew that they are God, to me, all healing crops out of that. All levels of healing crops out of that, right? Because you stop thinking that you're a victim. You stop thinking that anybody could damage or harm you. You know that you can heal yourself. Like all of that comes from that original thought, that original belief that I am God. And so it's like, yeah, recognizing the thought and then choosing the belief system uh, to go with that. And that's it right there.
Yeah. You get to be the cause and experience the effect, which
Yeah,
we've been doing since birth. And just haven't realized it. Like we
yeah.
set that intention, we set the cause, and then we get to experience it. Um, yeah,
I love that, Jay. You know, one of the other things that I've talked about is I call it the momentum of thinking and feeling, right? We
mhm,
have a thought. It could be positive or negative or serves us or not. We follow that thought. So an emotion can result out of that thought. That emotion fuels more thinking, which fuels more emotion. And the next thing you know, you're on a whirlwind of a thought process
yeah,
that can be constructive or destructive. We are what we're managing, y'all, as human beings is very layered. I was just talking to somebody about extraterrestrial beings, how they are so interested in how we are wired up because we have these powerful emotions.
yeah,
And it's fascinating to them because most extraterrestrial they don't have that level of emotional body, right? And so to see a mother crying or loving her baby, they're just fascinated. It's like, oh my gosh, this
yeah,
is fascinating. But it is also why they call us courageous, because emotions can be positive, powerful energies, right? And so you have a thought and you have an emotion that follows that thought, which then fuels it, more of it. And so that's why it is so critical to
yeah,
stay, to be present, and to be the observer, like you talked about. Like, let me scale this back a little bit. Let me look at it from a heaven's view instead of I am this body. Let me try to be the observer, because we have a lot to manage as beings in these carrying these human bodies, right? So that's just something else that made me think of that, about that thing, that thinking, feeling thing.
I, I will say we can have a lot to manage when
Yeah,
we don't
yeah,
step back and observe, because
yeah,
that's
yeah.
what, like, to at least for me, when I observe and I step back, I release the burden of a lot of things that I was trying to hold on to, because it's like, oh, if I can see this from this vantage point, why do I want to sink back into that to
Oh,
rehold all of this?
yes.
And
You said the right word.
I actually remember when I first came to understand the power of our thoughts and how important they were in just shaping things, or at least the power that I gave them back then.
Yeah.
Um, I remember at the time I kind of went into seclusion. Like I unfollowed so many people on Facebook because I had
Mm,
the habit still of opening Facebook, and I was like, if I'm gonna be on here, I can't see all this because
mm,
I didn't know how to separate it at the time. Like I
yeah.
thought bad news was just bad news, and it just affects everybody the same way. not realizing again, like everything you read is a choice to accept or not.
Mm,
Everything you hear is a choice to accept or not. But I didn't feel I was strong enough at the time, so
yeah.
I kind of just went to myself so I could at least gather a foundation to stand on. Like like again, who am I? I'm not my thoughts. Well, but if I get to choose my thoughts, what thoughts do I want to be
Mm,
part of me? If I get to choose my feelings, what feelings do I want to hold?
mm,
And once
mhm.
I kind of built that foundation and felt I was strong enough to interact with the world again, then that's when some fun and magic happened. And again, it wasn't overnight. Like it wasn't a quick thing where I could stand in the face of whatever and be smiling. Like it was a process. It's still a process in some
Yeah.
ways. But it does get easier and easier to you don't even have to govern your thoughts as much. You still do, just because it's like,
Yes.
nah, I don't want to let
Yeah.
anything in. But
Yeah.
it becomes easy and automatic.
I love that. I love when you said, why would I sink into this? And that is how it feels. My teenage daughter, she's has this habit of saying, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, mom. And I'm like, what are you apologizing for? I'm sorry. And I'm like, and she'll say, I'm sorry. I'll say why. Well, you remember when and I'm like, you know what? Whatever you said or did, I have forgotten about it. Let's not contaminate the present moment with it. It's gone. It's gone. What you are running to find it, to bring it back here. Leave it, leave it alone. I don't even want to remember what you said or what attitude you had. And I think about in the Course in Miracles when it talks about, and I'm gonna get the page number that it says, this is on my refrigerator, but it says the past was made in anger. The
Ooh,
past was made in anger. And I've looked at that many times and I'm like, that is so true. A lot of times when we go back, we either get mad or sad. When we go back, it's not a happy place to be.
yeah,
It was made in anger. And so, yeah, when you said, why would I sink into that place? It made me think of that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And something that I want to challenge people to do, is to apologize without calling themselves sorry.
Mm,
And I know it doesn't
mm.
seem like you're calling yourself sorry when you say I'm sorry, but no, you are saying not sorry. It's like you saying, yeah, I'm just sorry. Like,
I'm
nah,
just
you're
sorry.
not sorry. Just you can apologize, but never call yourself that, because you start to believe it over the years. And
Yes.
that's one of the first things we teach kids. Say
Yeah.
you're sorry. Like, no,
Yeah.
no,
Yes.
you should not
That
say
is
that. But yeah,
facts.
go ahead.
That is facts. No, that's facts. That's facts.
Yeah,
So yeah, you're right. I'm gonna tell her that. I'm gonna say, Jay said, you are not sorry.
yeah.
Do not say I am sorry.
Right. You can say
Absolutely.
I apologize. Yeah, apologize all
Yeah.
you want, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
and I know that's just switching words, but again, that
No, it's
sorry
huge.
word has something attached to it in a lot
It's
of people's
huge.
minds.
It's huge. That's
Yeah,
huge what you just said. Because the two most powerful words is I am, right? We are asserting that which we are from our inner universe and we're expressing that out. So I am. You are not sorry. You are not angry, right? You are love,
yeah,
right? So no, that's huge. That's huge. I'm gonna let her listen to this
yeah.
podcast.
When you start paying attention to the words that not only you use and others use,
Hmm.
you can start to see the patterns of life. Like again, we use a lot of conflict words without realizing it. I'm a kill two birds in one stone. Like if
Yeah,
I say I did good on the verse, I killed that verse, I wrecked that verse.
yeah,
Like these attack words, and we wonder why we're always,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, we think we
yeah.
have to fight our thoughts. We have to like, no, you're fighting. No, like,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. It's I you and I have talked about this. The English language, and I don't know if it's just the English
yeah,
language, but a lot of the language is rooted in low vibrational energies, right? So many, and hello, hell. and low. Let's go low. So when I'm present enough, and this is an exercise in presence, because I think when we came on, I said hello, but I'm trying to really change from saying hello to hi. And when I say hi to somebody, I actually think high vibration, high vibes, high. And so that's the intention behind my words. So it's like I'm speaking that energy. But it is, if we unpack that thing, y'all, with the language, oh man, yeah, yeah, it is an exercise in presence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because I've spoken on here before how I'm learning Spanish, and even in learning Spanish, you kind of see how certain words mean certain things, even
Mm.
in English. Like a question in Spanish is preguntar, which kind of looks like pregnant. So if you think about it, like, yeah, I have a question. It's like I have this something in me, and the answer is kind of the way to bring it out. Adios means go to God, which is kind of
Mm.
cool. Like,
Love it.
but
I
we just
love
say
it.
bye. What does bye mean? You know what I mean? Like, we can say peace, good journey, something. But it does make a difference because, like you said, when you say hi to people, it has a higher vibration.
Yes.
And I will say what's beautiful about the English language is it's almost like a master alchemist's language.
Mm.
Like others wouldn't say I am hungry. They would say I have hunger, which is a big
Mm.
difference because
Mm.
like you can let hunger go if you
Mm.
have it, but if you are hungry, like you have to, you're never satisfied almost. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you're creating a state that you're always wanting more or needing more. So
Yeah.
this is an interesting thing.
Yeah. I wonder if that's intentional. I wonder if that's intentional. But regardless of whether it's intentional or not, if we become intentional about our language. I think you were interviewed by a lady who Betty introduced you to, and Donna too. She does the Heaven High.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
the hello. She does
Tangi
Heaven.
Ambrose, yeah,
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 and Eric Taylor talks a lot about language where he just said good morning. We're not mourning anything, right? So he says grand rising. Yeah, just really, it's if nothing else, it's an exercise in presence because you're so conditioned to say something. And so if you figure out, am I present enough to have this conversation and not speak these words? So it's really cool.
yeah.
Just another way to create. Yeah.
It is, and I'll say one more thing that I thought about today too in about this conversation. So again, I make music. I try to throw affirmations in there, and one of the things that I always wondered about was like the I tense and the you tense.
Mm,
Like should I make the songs where I am this, I am that, or should I make it like you get to do this, you are this, you are that?
mm, mm,
And what I think I've settled on is the you because it allows the listener to be a part of the blessing. You know what I mean? So like not only
yeah.
are you receiving it, but you get to bless someone else. And when you bless someone, you believe subconsciously like, oh, I must be blessed to be able to bless someone. And
Mm,
what made me think about that is how easy, like, we might say bless you or something, or God bless you or something, but not realizing to even say that we have the power to bless somebody. So we
mm.
must be full of blessings, full of this goodness,
Speak
but
it.
we don't always recognize it.
I love that. I love it. I love it. I love it. This is a communal thing. This is all about being oneness
Yeah.
and seeing God in others. I always try to talk, not unless I'm referencing a personal story. I always try to talk in the collective, like we,
Yeah.
um, because it is, we're all on this journey of remembering that which we are. And that's the juicy part, it's remembering, and then so speaking life in yourself and others. It's everybody gets to be the shining star. Everybody
Yes.
gets to experience that God energy within them. Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're getting low on time. just to recap real quick, it sounds like the two main things to get into the state of watching your self-talk so that you can make it positive or make it what you want from it is one, observe. Two, just take an exercise in presence, like change something up, change how you say a phrase, a common phrase that you will just regurgitate if somebody asked you or somebody said a spell to you and you repeat it back, like good morning, hi, like check with your response, check the response that you want and start practicing it. And every time you miss out on it, like you said, it's an exercise in presence. So yeah. Do you have anything you want to add to the recap?
Yeah, and then observe, like you said, and observe your speech, and then choose what you wish to believe. Right? We can believe we're victims. We can believe that life is happening to us, but then choosing. I choose. That was powerful when I told my kids, I choose to believe that those potatoes were not for us. That's why that happened. It was not random. It's not because y'all don't know how to cook. No, just what. But yeah, choosing what you wish to believe.
This could be a stretch real quick, but it might not be. So like we talked about, you don't not only consume food, but you consume, words and thoughts and things. When you said choose, that made me think of like chewing, and like you get to choose what you're gonna digest. Like it's so
absolutely. Because I don't have I'm wanting to unpack the words I want. Right. Yeah. I've often been told saying I want tells the universe, let's give her more experience of wanting. And so I'll say choose. No, God, this is what I choose. As God, here's what I choose. So yeah, I love it.
I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna start using that.
Yeah.
I still say want sometimes, and I don't want to say want, so I choose. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So any last words before we?
This has been amazing. Again, I love what you do in this space. It's so critical. And this topic can be unpacked in so many different ways. And so thank you for bringing this topic on. It's critical, and I'll definitely relook at this and learn from it. So thank you for allowing me to join the show today.
Yeah, thank you as well. And for everyone watching, Troy is coming back. He was doing the family vacation thing, and Loretta stepped in for the guest host, and we truly appreciate you. And if anyone found this helpful, hit the share button, like, subscribe, all of that. And just remember, you're a perfect creation made by a perfect creator. So you might as well accept your perfection and enter perfect mode. Cheers.
If I reminded you that you are perfect, would you argue me down or step into your perfection? Welcome to Perfect Mode, where there are no excuses, no expectations, and we explore the world without limitations. I'm JClay, rapper, the spiritual teacher, with my co-host Troy Washington, your friendly neighborhood realtor. Let's be real, so let's be perfect.
Perfect.